With great difficulty, the three companions had managed to haul the wizard's treasure out of the hole they had been digging. It was a dark and heavy metal chest, which vaguely reminded them of the wooden one still stowed inside their wagon. It had a similar size and style of craftsmanship, and was also covered in glyphs. The blue blood had approached the container as soon as it was out, the muddied thieves stepping back from it as he did so. With a small, almost insignificant hand gesture, he made the magical symbols on its surface disappear as if they had never been there. Then reaching to it, he opened it with a touch of his hand, only to start rummaging through its contents immediately. The sense of occasion that the crypt cleaners felt for the opening was clearly not shared by the wizard.
"Lismond, this is for you,"
spoke Gorith, extending what appeared to be a silver sword to him.
"It is what some of you would call a witch blade, a lunarite sword."
"Lunarite?" repeated the thief in awe as he carefully took the blade from the wizard.
"It is an alloy with the strength of iron and the magical properties of silver. A powerful tool that you may keep for as long as you serve me."
Lismond turned the sheathed weapon over and over in his hands, examining it, before pulling the blade out fully and holding it out in front of him. He stared at its magnificence with incredulity. The sword felt lighter than a normal iron sword. It was very well balanced, with a silvery blade and a selection of exotic metals in the complex curved lines of the crossguard. It was of beautiful craftsmanship, clearly the work of a master artisan. Its feel hinted at being a perfect instrument of death, and at the same time it was clearly a work of art. This weapon alone was most likely worth more than Lismond's weight in silver. Pepper's eyes were wide open, almost falling from their orbits. Even the priests seemed impressed. They had heard of witchblades, but they had never set their eyes on one. They were powerful weapons of legend.
"Few things are sharper than a moon-blessed lunarite blade. Make sure moonlight touches its surface at least once every night, and it will not fail you."
Thank you. I will take good care of it."
"That would be wise of you. That sword is of great value to me."
Gorith produced another object from the chest, and surprisingly, with something that resembled a smile, offered it to Ernon.
"This is for you, priest. A sunrod."
The man received it with a perplexed look and started examining it. It took but a few moments for his expression to start changing. First curiosity, then interest, and then, to his friend's dismay, a dawning horror of realization.
How did you come to obtain this? This is no ordinary sunrod. These inscriptions, these ornaments. I have seen drawings of this object. It cannot be. This is the lost sunrod of Kandan."
Gorith's smile widened as the priest grew more worried.
How did this come to be in your possession? This was brought from the Dawn Islands, the ancestral home of my order. It was Kandan's sunrod. "I killed the fool and took it from him. How else, priest?" You killed Kandan the Sun-Blessed? Heliarch of the Sun Priests?" "No, I spoke only in jest,"
answered Gorith, leaving a moment of silence for confusion to emerge in the priest's face.
"Of course I killed him, you fool!"
And having said this apparently hilarious sentence, the wizard laughed. He actually laughed. A full-blown belly laughter that left both Lismond and Pepper feeling disconcerted and uncomfortable, and Ernon terrified. When his laughter finally ran dry, the blue blood sighed as if the moment had been truly cathartic. He then continued, his smile still present, savouring his words.
I had a feeling you would appreciate my present, priest." "Oh, holy sun! Holy sun!"
cried Ernon, growing pale.
"Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!"
Lismond placed a hand on his shoulder, trying to calm him down.
"You are in no danger. Not by my hand, not by my will. Remember?"
Gorith kept smiling as he spoke.
"You should be grateful that such a powerful artifact has been bestowed upon you. It's clearly of the purest gold and the most exquisite blue blood craftsmanship." What? What heresy is this?
shouted Ernon, reeling after hearing such an insult.
This is a relic from our most ancient past. The sacred writings say it was crafted by Horon himself, first among the Sun Priests and founder of our order.
Well, perhaps he was a blue blood then.
Oh, holy sun, the sacrilege! How dare you, moon wizard!
Exclaimed Ernon, apparently able to muster some courage, fueled by his great capacity to be offended.
Ernon, calm down. Remember who we're talking to,
said Lismond through his teeth, squeezing the priest's shoulder with his hand.
Believe what you will, priest. It matters not. I simply could not deny myself the pleasure. The look on your face, and the irony of having your order's most sacred relic entrusted into the hands of someone of your stature.
To this, Ernon replied in nothing but red-faced mumbles. The normally somewhat hunched priest was now standing tall and defiant. His lips trembled and his eyes flared in a face that had reached maximum offence.
Ernon, enough! Think with your head,
continued Lismond. Gorith paid no heed to the two friends. Apparently having exhausted the comedic potential of the event, he looked away without concern and returned to his chest, searching for another object. Pepper had been surprisingly silent as he watched his companions receive the invaluable objects. The Witchblade was a weapon of legend, with the power to make them rich if it were sold to the right discerning collector, and the wealth the Sunrod could produce was probably beyond measure, incalculable. If things kept following that trend, and Pepper was convinced that they would, then the treasure he was about to receive would be at least one order of magnitude greater than the priest's sceptre, just as that had been greater than the Witchblade. He was actually having trouble picturing what kind of incredible, mythical treasure awaited him, and his stomach flipped with an excitement that he had not felt for some time.
Catch!
Pepper snapped out of his near trance as the wizard threw a small object at him, and he instinctively caught it in his hand. Opening his palm, he looked at what would surely be an awe-inspiring gift from the blue blood. To his disappointment, the object did not look like a magical ring or the key to some infinite treasure vault. It mostly just looked like a glass lens encircled by a silver band. Pretty, but not really special or particularly valuable, especially not when he compared it to the legendary artifacts his friends had just received.
My lord? What is this?
A night glass. With it you should be able to see through the darkest of nights and through the sharpest of illusions. A useful trinket, wouldn't you say?
Ah, yes, my lord.
The wagon was again in motion, with Lismond back at the driver's seat, and the other two crammed into a compartment that was even smaller now the metal chest had been stacked upon the wooden one. Gorith was not riding with them. To the crypt cleaner's relief, it had only taken the wizard a single glance at the cramped, claustrophobic interiors of the vehicle to decide against riding in it. Saying he would travel by other means, he had ordered them to drive to the crypt, where he'd be awaiting them. The priest was staring blankly at his newly acquired sunrod, holding it in his lap with limp fingers, worried and lost in thought. Pepper, noticing his friend's expression, perhaps because the lack of space gave him no choice but to notice, tried to animate him.
Oh, cheer up, Ernon. You got the best treasure by far. Look at that fancy sunrod. All I got was this little trinket.
I have not liked the events of this night, not one bit, Pepper.
Why not? It's been pretty decent in my opinion. Got to see a fairy, that cheeky little blighter. You don't see those every day. Got some magical artifacts without having to risk our lives for a change. All good things in my book.
Oh, Pepper, this ritual, this moon covenant we did. It reminds me of the sun oath I took when I joined the order. We were not able to break it. We are practically his slaves now.
It's just a little promise. I'm sure there's some way to bend it here and there.
No, you don't understand. 3 orders of the sun came from the Dawn Islands, all united under an oath to the sun. But our sacred writings say that when Kandan the Sunblessed was lost, his order was forced to break their oath, and they all turned into black statues of coal. I've seen them with my own eyes. They are still there, in the High Temple in Solaria.
But we're not breaking any sun oaths there, None. Well, maybe you are, come to think of it.
No, I'm not breaking any oaths. At least, I don't think so. From what I know, the oaths of old were more rigid than those of today. I'm sure tragedies like those of Kandan's men paved the way for that change.
The priest sighed.
I fear Lismond was right, Pepper. We are way out of our depth here. This blue blood Goreth, I've never read any mentions of him. But if what he says is true, and he actually did kill Kandan, we have indeed never been this lost in our lives.